So just one more. Shana Partush, yeah, which is here. Okay, so for now, we'll start with a review. These are actually very, very, very important halachas. Very simple and very, very practical. So as mentioned yesterday that we started, the first set of halachas that we learned were if we're having a meal, what to do before the meal starts, how to wash your hands, how to make a bracha, what do you do if you don't have a proper keli, a proper vessel, what happens if you don't have water, so on and so forth. So yesterday we started the set of halachas of the bracha rishona, the bracha before we eat. So it's very, very practical. What happens if somebody forgot to make a bracha and they already put something in their mouth? What happens if they made a bracha and it fell? Do they have to make another bracha? So on and so forth. So we are covering these halachas today, Mirz Hashem. They are extremely practical. They apply to you quite a few times a day, right? If you eat, hopefully people eat. So you'll be running into these halachas quite often. So let's just recap yesterday. Yesterday we learned the first three halachas of chapter 50, Perek Nun. We did Aleph, Beis, and Gimel. Let's just quickly review them. Right, the pasuk says, "LaHashem ha'aretz u'malayah." To Hashem is ha'aretz, the entire land, u'malayah, and everything in it. Not just the land, but also everything that's in it. That everything is sanctified for Hashem. And in order to eat or to partake, to benefit from Hashem's creations, one has to make a bracha. Otherwise, it's as if somebody's using something which is sanctified without permission. Now, as mentioned yesterday, we know, and we're going to go into it, but every single thing has its own bracha, right? Bread, we make hamaitzi. It has more chashivas to it, has more importance. It's more of a chashiv thing, something which is not bread, but it's made from the 5 types of grain. We make a bracha mezainas. It didn't reach the level of bread, but it still has a certain level of chashivos, of importance to it. That's why it has its own bracha, even though the grain comes from the ground. Something which goes from the ground, vegetables, for example, cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever, all of these things. Since it goes from the ground, the bracha is hadama, right? Vayrei pri hadama, that Hashem created the fruit of the land. Something which it grows from the ground. However, it's not directly from the ground, it comes from a tree. It deserves its own bracha. That would make a Beirei Pri Ha'etz. That Hashem created the fruit of the tree. Meat, cheese, all of these products, you make a shahako because they don't have something specific to them. Wine, even though it comes from a grape, and even though it's a drink, and regularly on a drink, the bracha shahako, but wine is very, very chashuv. It's very, very prestigious, the wrong word, but it has a lot of importance to it. That's why it has its own bracha. You make a Beirei Pri Hagafen. Now, what happens? Somebody by accident, they made a bracha shahako on something that was supposed to be ha'etz. Right? You took an apple, you washed it. We're not going to go into if you have to wash your hands or not before because it's wet. The halachas that we learned previously. Or let's say you have a dried apple and you're about to make ha'etz, you got distracted and you made a shahako and you took a bite. What's the halacha? Does anyone remember? It's okay. Yeah, for the future, you should be careful to make the right bracha. However, if after the fact it already happened, you do not make a new bracha.
Again?
So you have an apple. Yeah. You're about to make ha'etz, the proper bracha. By accident, you got distracted, you forgot to make shahako, and you ate. Do you have to make a new bracha?
So you said no.
No, that's right.
But then you said one more.
Oh, so for the future, it's important to make sure to make the right bracha. However, for this time, once the bracha is already made and one began eating, it's okay. There are 2 exceptions to this rule, as mentioned yesterday. because the halacha is also that one may not make a shahakal on anything they see. Rather, they have to make the appropriate bracha, right? As mentioned for bread, one should not be making shahakal on bread. There are two exceptions to this rule. The first exception is if for some reason somebody just cannot figure out what it is. It's a new exotic food and you just can't figure it out. The ingredients are not clear, or the label isn't there. You don't have the ingredients. You don't have anyone to call. You just can't, there's no way to check it out. So then the halacha is, in such a case, you can make a shahakal, even though chances are that's not the correct bracha, simply because you have no other choice. The second exception to this rule is if there is a dispute amongst the halachic authorities. And the example that we gave yesterday was rice. Rice is one of those famous examples. There's a suffix, we don't know 100% what exactly is rice, which is defined in the Talmud, because there's two types of rice, so to speak, that are very similar one to the other. And eiruz and deichan, that's what they're called. So we don't know if the rice that we're eating today is actually the rice that's mentioned in the Gemara, or is it the one which is similar to it or not? So one of them is a bracha mezainis, the real bracha. The other one is a bracha shahakal. And there's a debate amongst the poskim. What do? Do you make a shahakal? Do you make a mezainis? So for that, we mentioned yesterday, it does not say in here, but the Alter Rebbe writes that a Yiras Shamayim, the best thing to do is to only eat rice when you're having a meal. When you wash for hamaitzi. So this is included in the meal. That way you don't run into any problems. If that's not possible, then one is permitted to make a bracha shahakal on it, because at the end of the day, this is something which the poskim have a debate on. The halachic authorities have a debate on. And one of the exceptions to the rule, where you are allowed to make a shahakal, even though that may not be the correct bracha, is that there are different opinions. So you make a shahakal and you're covered. Okay. Then we mentioned yesterday also that before making a bracha, the correct thing to do is you should be holding it in your right hand, and then you make the bracha. If you didn't hold it in your hand, but it was in front of you, that also counts. Somebody made a shahakal liyabedvari, but he did not hold it in their hand, it's okay. The proper thing is to hold it, but if you didn't, it counts. Now, what happens if I know that in 5 minutes I'm going to have a drink of water, but now it's not in front of me, and I made a shahakal having in mind that it's going to come? Does that count or no?
No.
No, very good. It does not count. When we eat or drink, when we make the bracha, it has to be in front of us. Ideally, holding it in the right hand. For whatever reason, if that didn't happen, but it was in front of us on the table, it counts. If it's not in front of us, the bracha should not be recited, only once we have it in front of us. Okay, now we're holding by the fourth halacha, Se'iv Daled. This is a very practical thing. We'll read inside and then we'll translate and explain. Somebody took a fruit in their hand and they made the bracha. What happened? By accident, they dropped it. So either it got completely lost, it rolled away, and there's no way for you to retrieve it, or it fell into something which really made it gross that you can't eat it anymore. Or somebody, they didn't have food, but they had something to drink, and it completely spilled out. So means this is a very important halacha. What do we just read? I'll translate and explain. So you had an apple. It fell and it completely rolled away. A car drove, smashed it. Your apple is gone. There's nothing you can do. Right? That's it. But you made the bracha already. So what happened? Now, there's two scenarios. If you had more apples in front of you, then your bracha, we say, actually went on the other apples that were in front of you, and you can eat those apples. You didn't lose your bracha, right? Just like we said earlier, that there's two ways of how the proper ways of making a bracha. Either number one, the best way is to hold it in your hand, or number two, if you didn't hold it in your hand, but it was in front of you, that also counts. So let's say you had a few slices of apples, you took one of them, the other slices are in front of you, so your bracha does count on those also, as mentioned, right? You lost the apple, it's gone, but you had the other ones in front of you. You do not make a new bracha, you can just continue eating from those apples, being that they were in front of you when you made the bracha. However, if you didn't have anything else, you only had this one piece, and you're going to go to the store to buy another one, that doesn't count. That you have to make a new bracha on the new one that you buy. Being that the ones that you're going to buy, they were not in front of you when you made the original bracha, it does not count.
If it was in the room.
Oh, so it has to be in front of you.
So then you do different. Right?
You do make a bracha, yeah. Correct. Very good. That's a very good question, yeah. Now, the same halacha is when it comes to a drink. A drink, it's spilled. Oh no, right? There's no more water. So what do? So if there was the jug of water in front of you, that's okay. We'll pour another cup. This water was in front of you. It's not your bracha did go on the water in the jug. You pour some more, you drink it. If there's nothing else in front of you, same halacha, a new bracha would have to be made. So make a new shahakol and you get a new glass of water.
And then there is time for your bracha.
Sorry?
Then there is time for the bracha.
Oh, very good. We're going to get to that. Meaning how from the bracha until you eat?
No, you eat straight.
Yeah.
But then, if I drink now and.
Oh, you want to drink later on?
Yeah.
How much
now
time
I
you
see till 2 hours.
Oh,
1 hour.
very good. Yes, very good. We're going to cover that. Excellent. That's a very good question. That's why I mentioned these halachas are very practical because these are things that we live with, right?
Yeah.
You make a shahakol. How long does it last you, right? This is very good questions. We're going to see very soon in Mitzvah Shem. Okay. Okay, very, very good. Okay, hey, the fifth halacha. Now, so let's say you didn't drop anything. Everything's okay. You have your water, you have your fruit. The question is, from when one makes the bracha until they eat or they drink, are you allowed to do anything in between this time? So that's halacha hey. So let's read it inside. We'll translate and explain. Tzarich shelo yafsek yosef mikdei dibur bein habracha la'achila. Okay, this is very important. Somebody who made a bracha to eat, they cannot wait. They can't just, right away, they have to put it in their mouth. And even more so, even if they're still chewing, they can't talk yet. They have to wait until they actually swallowed something and then they can talk. If one did make an interruption between eating, between the bracha and eating, if somebody, let's say, they made a shahakal, hey, hi, how are you? You have to make a bracha. Why? Because it's an interruption, right? Between one action of the bracha and what the bracha is being made on. If an interruption happened that had nothing to do with the bracha, then a new bracha is required. However, aval im shaha b'shtika ein tzarich levarich. Now, if somebody waited, but they did not speak, right? They made a shakal, instead of drinking right away, they waited a little bit, daydreaming, whatever it was, and then they drank. That's okay. They do not have to make a bracha. it still counts.
If what?
If they spaced out, they made shak on the other they spaced out a little bit, but they didn't speak. They just waited. Then they drank, it's okay. You don't make a new bracha. And something, if somebody's waiting, but he's waiting for the actual meal itself, for what he's eating, that's completely fine. And here's a very practical example. Now, here's another very practical thing. You have an apple. This is a perfect example. You have a cake. There's a halacha that it is preferred to make a bracha on something when it's still whole, as opposed to when it's already cut up in pieces. So it's easier for you to eat the apple once it's in pieces. It's smaller, whatever, you don't have to bite from it, you can put it down, it's much easier. So what happens if somebody wants to cut it up? So the ideal thing is to make a bracha when it's still whole. It's a full apple. It's more chashuv. It has more prestige is the wrong word. It's a much better thing to do. So what do? You make a bracha beirei pri ha'etz, and then you cut the apple. So even though we said earlier that you should not interrupt between the bracha and eating, over here is different. Because over here, the cutting of the apple actually has to do with eating of the apple. It's not like saying hi to a friend or checking a text between the bracha and the eating, but it's actually for the purpose of eating. That's okay. Okay. So over here, we just added a new detail. As we mentioned, it's better to make a bracha on something when it's whole. That's why on Shabbos, with the two chalas, we make the bracha while they're still whole, and then we cut them. Right? So the same idea when having an apple. The proper thing to do is to make the bracha when it's still whole. However, in a case where somebody's concerned, maybe there's bugs in the fruit and you want to check it, so then you would not make the bracha when it's whole. It's better to check it and then eat it. Then make the bracha and eat it. Now, it's the sixth halacha. If anybody's ever seen over here, some people before they make a bracha shakal, before they drink water, they spill out a drop. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that before. Yeah? Okay, some people yeah, some people not. So, should you spill it out before the bracha or after the bracha?
Before.
Yeah, you should do it before. So, let's see that inside. Vav, hashay samayim v'shefech ma'at kedem shtiyah. Say somebody's drinking water, and they spill out just a drop beforehand, mishum chashash mayim harayim, because of a worry, maybe that there's a mayim harayim, it's some impurities in the water. Yishpech kaidem sheyazchel levarich. You should first spill out a little bit before you start making the bracha. V'lay achar bracha mishum bizayin habracha. So one should spill out before they drink and not after. And the reason for that is because it's not so respectful to the bracha. You made a bracha on the whole entire cup, and now you're taking away from the bracha, so to speak. You're pouring out. That's not so respectful for the bracha, so it's done before the bracha. Now, this is very practical for somebody who cooks. What happens if you're making a soup? You're making cholent, you're making any other dish. You don't want to eat. You just want to taste to see if it has enough salt, if the spices are enough, if everything is okay. Do you have to make a bracha on that?
Depends.
Oh, very good. Everyone is saying the right answers. Because the answer sometimes is no, and sometimes the answer depends. Zayin, let's see it inside. Hatayim as a tavshel, somebody who tastes the food in tzarich melech v'chayetze by a pilot. They're tasting it to see if it needs some more salt or anything similar to that, different spices. But afterwards, they spit it out. They actually do not swallow it. It's just to see if it's good. The halacha is einei tzarich levarich. You do not make a bracha. However, if one swallows, they don't spit it out. Yesh safek. There's actually it's a question, im tzarich levarich, if you have to make a bracha or not. Kiven shu beileya, einei tzarich levarich, kiven she'en kavanah la'achila. L'chein yizar she'chaven le'yanis mimenu b'teres achila v'yivarich alav v'yivla. Now, if you're spitting it out 100%, you do not make a bracha. What happens if you're swallowing it? Oh, so here it's a suffix. It's a question in halacha. Do we look at it as you're actually eating it, right? If you're tasting it, just to see if it needs more, is that considered eating or not? So therefore, you make a bracha, but you have in mind that you're actually not just tasting it, but you are also eating it. And if you have in mind this is also for the purpose of eating, then you do make a bracha, yes. This is also the next halacha is very, very practical. Medicine. Sometimes you have flavored medicine and it tastes good. You know, this flavor, somebody would eat as a candy. It's not just, it's not bitter, it's not, a person can enjoy it. So let's see what the halacha is when you eat such a medicine. Somebody who eats or they drink for the purpose of refuah, for medicine, for medical purposes. If it's something which is tasty and the person actually derives benefit from it, you actually do make the bracha before and afterwards. Now here is a very, very interesting thing. If somebody, chas v'shalom, is not feeling well, more than not feeling well, they're actually sick, and their form of healing is to eat something which is actually not kosher. So there's different halachas regarding it, what level of sickness one has, what kind of things can they eat. This is a different subject. This is not what we're talking about now. Let's say this person called their Rav, their rabbi, and they said, you are permitted to do so. They're eating something which is not kosher. Do they make a bracha or not? Oh, the answer is yes. So even though it's not kosher, however, it says, Kiven shehatera hitira layata, since the Torah permitted for this person to eat right now, because it's a mitzvah, now they're saving their life, the halacha is tzarich hu levarich alav. You do make a bracha, because now it's not Isra anymore. The Torah permitted it because the pasuk says, v'chai b'hem, mitzvahs are here to give us life. They're not here, chas v'shalom, to take away life. So if their form of healing is only through this, the Torah permits it, and one does actually make a bracha on it. Now let's say the medication that somebody's taking, it's not yummy. It's actually very bitter, and you don't want it. Then simple, you do not make a bracha. The So somebody who sings probably knows this, that there's a common thing to do by people who sing is they drink a raw egg. It helps the voice. So an average person doesn't like a raw egg. It's gross for most people. I don't know. I don't want to say for everyone, but usually you cook it before. So if you're doing it for vocal purposes, do you make a bracha or not? Surprisingly, the halacha is yes. Because even though you're not deriving benefit from the actual eating, however, it satiates a person, right? At the end of the day, it's food that satiated the person. It has a halachic status of food, and it does satiate the person.
explain again the last one?
With the egg?
No,
Oh.
no, I think it's Zan. If someone tastes and spits, so no bracha, but if it tastes and swallows, so what?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so if somebody is just tasting, we'll give the example of soup to see if there's enough salt. So if you're spitting it out, for sure, no bracha. However, if you're swallowing, then it depends. It's questionable in halacha.
So it's questionable.
Oh, it's a question. So the eitzah, the solution to avoid the safek, the question, is when you eat it, you have in mind that you're actually doing it for the purpose of eating and not just for tasting. Now you're taking a little bit of soup, then you make a bracha. That's right.
So the solution is
To have in mind.
And in mind, and then you do bracha.
That's right. That's exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, Tess. Nichnas leidaver begreinai, something got into somebody's throat and their throat is itchy. Let's say the throat is bothering them, right? They ate something, something's there, whatever it is. The sheisa mashkin, you're drinking something, eichel chatichas pas, or you're eating a piece of bread, you're eating a piece of bread to actually swallow it, and the thing that's in your throat, you're hoping that it's going to go down with it, so it's not going to bother you anymore. Or anything else, any other food that a person derives benefit from. The halacha is tzarech levarich alav ulefanav uleacharav. So even though at the moment the person's intent is just to make their throat feel better, but if they're eating something which is proper food, they're drinking water, they're having actual bread, they're not just, it's food, right? This is regular food that people eat. One does make a bracha beforehand and afterwards. This is a very important halacha. Water. Water, if somebody's not thirsty, they don't really derive too much benefit from it. They don't take pleasure in drinking water when they're not thirsty, right? Unlike soda, juice, that has a taste to it. That a person can enjoy whether they're thirsty or they're not thirsty. It doesn't make a difference because the juice itself, the soda itself, whatever it is, has taste to it, which a regular person benefits from. Water, as we all know, is not the same. Water has absolutely no taste, and the person who really derives benefit from it is only one who is thirsty. If you're not thirsty, and this actually impacts halacha, if you're not thirsty, you do not make a bracha when you drink. Yeah.
But when you drink water, you nurture yourself. So the same thing of the salad about the egg.
Oh, so you're saying that you're hydrating yourself.
Yes.
Okay, very good question. Because when it comes to birchas hanen and the bracha before we eat something, we're thanking Hashem for the benefit, the pleasure that the body has. So even though one is hydrating themselves, however, the bracha is not going on the hydration, it's thanking Hashem for the physical pleasure one has in a cup of water. That's birchas hanen, somebody who has hana, somebody who you enjoy it. So even though one is at the end of the day, it's hydrating them, this is true, but the brachas are there to thank Hashem for the benefit that one derives from it. And being that if somebody's not thirsty, it's true, they do benefit from drinking water. It's very important to stay hydrated. However, if there's no benefit, there's no hana, there's no enjoyment, then the bracha is not recited. This is a very important.
So wait, I have another question.
Sure.
I don't like water, but I drink every day because I know that I need to drink. So
the easiest thing is to make a bracha either if you're thirsty or to make a bracha on something else and have it in mind. So you have, if you drink tea, coffee, whatever it is, or anything else which is shahak, or a little candy, you have in mind the water, that counts also. So that's the easiest thing. And we'll see, as mentioned before, with rice, as we said earlier, right? Since there's a machlekes of what to do, so there's a concept to make a bracha and have something else in mind together with that bracha. So that's also a very important foundation. Okay, so this is actually a lot of important and very practical information. Let's quickly review everything to make sure that it's all clear, because this is something that you live with every single day. You drink, you make a bracha. You eat, you make a bracha. This is always very, very practical. So let's start from the fourth halacha again. As we mentioned, somebody takes a fruit or anything else. You're about to make a bracha. The proper thing is to put it in your right hand, then make a bracha. If for some reason they did not have it in the right hand, but it was still in front of them, you're able to see it, it's good, it counts. If it was not even in front of them, it does not count. One does have to recite a new bracha. And even more so, even if you know that it's coming in a second, even if you know exactly where it is, but it was not in front of you, a bracha is not recited. Now, from the point of when a bracha was made until you actually drank, one should not wait. Rather, they should drink right away in order to avoid creating something which is called a hefsek, an interruption between the bracha and the eating or the drinking. Now, if somebody spoke and it did not have to do with, let's say there's two types of interruptions. There's an interruption, but it's connected to what you're doing, and there's an interruption which is not connected with what you're doing. So, for example, if somebody made hamaitzi on Shabbos and they realized, oh, we forgot the salt.
The what?
The salt. So, one is allowed to ask, the best is to motion, but if the people don't understand what you're saying, you can say the salt. You can actually say it. This is not considered a full interruption because it's part of the same. It has to do with the eating.
So we can say salt.
It's best to motion, and it's best to prepare beforehand. In a case where this did not happen, or somebody doesn't understand the motions.
Every time so we understand them.
Correct. So the best thing is to prepare before, to make sure before you make the bracha, everything is ready. If it didn't happen, then if you speak, but it's with the same inyan, it's the same, it's connected to what you're eating or drinking, one does not make a new bracha. However, if somebody made a bracha and then their friend that they have not seen in so long comes in the room and they say, hi, how are you? And they realize, oh no, I didn't put the thing in my mouth, the food in my mouth yet. Since that hi, hello didn't have anything to do with the eating, right? That's considered a hefsek, which is not connected to the bracha. And that would, in such a case, one is required to make a new bracha. One second. Okay. Now, the example that we gave earlier, the proper thing is to make a bracha when something is whole. That's why on Shabbos you'll see always you make a bracha hamaitzi before cutting it, right? They make a little siman, they cut the bread a little bit just to know where it is, but you don't actually cut the bread. And the reason for that is because the proper thing to do is to make a bracha while the food is still whole. So somebody is eating an apple, right? So they want to make the bracha while the apple is still whole. They didn't cut it yet. You can make the bracha and then cut the apple. That's okay. That's not considered an interruption.
But
Can I ask you
Sure.
about the bread? But it still didn't cut, like, we didn't cut the bread. For what you would do like this?
Oh, that's a very good question. The reason for that is because you actually want to take away from the time from the bracha to the cutting. So you look at the best part of the bread, the one that you want to eat first, and you cut it a little bit. So then as soon as you make the bracha to save time, right away you cut from there so you can eat from there. That's what it should be. Yeah, so that's when it comes to the proper thing is to make a bracha on something which is full. So you make the bracha. Cutting it is not considered an interruption. It is 100% okay. As mentioned, there's a custom, which is not just a custom, it's actually brought in halacha, to pour out a little bit before you drink. Now, you pour out before you make the bracha, and then you drink. Sorry, then you make the bracha, and then you drink. You should not do it. You should not make the bracha, pour out, and drink. Rather, you spill a little bit, make the bracha, and then drink.
When you do that, if it's considered go
No, any water.
Even if you just filled it.
Yeah, correct. Even if, yeah, correct. Now with tasting. This is a very practical thing. Somebody is making soup, for example, that's the best example, and they want to see if there's enough salt or there's enough spices. What's the halacha? Do you make a bracha or not? If what? Sorry? If you swallow it, what's the halacha?
If you swallow it, then you should make the bracha.
Always?
It's preferable.
Oh,
What did you have to have in mind that you're gonna eat?
yeah, you have to have in mind, being that it's a question in halacha, because on one hand, if somebody is not really doing it for the purpose of eating, even if they're swallowing it, they're not doing it for the purpose of enjoyment. That's what they usually do when they eat. It's just to see if there's more salt, if it needs more salt, if it has enough salt. So then one should have in mind that this is not just for the sake of tasting, but they're actually eating a little bit of soup now. Then 100% you can make the bracha. And what's the halacha if you're spitting it out? No bracha. Yeah, as simple as that. Somebody who's eating or drinking a very tasty medicine. Yeah, you should make a bracha, correct.
What? We should make it.
You should, yeah.
It's tasty,
If it tastes good, flavored medicine, yes.
but it's still because of your like
Correct.
not so good like bad well-being.
Correct.
So
And being that it's helping you, and it tastes good. So we're thanking Hashem on the benefit that one derives from the good taste.
But when we drink, how do you say, pills, yeah, when we drink tablets,
Oh, tablets? No.
we don't say bracha with water.
Correct. Very good. Correct. Unless you're thirsty.
What?
Unless you're thirsty. But if it's just,
Yeah.
if it's just, because there's no taste. Right? Water.
But it still helps us to be like, to feel better.
Oh, very, very good question. The same question, it's the same, in essence, the same question that was asked before. Water, the same thing. What difference does it make if it tastes good, it doesn't taste good? At the end of the day, it's helping the person, right? It's dangerous to be dehydrated, and when you drink, it's helping the body. So what difference does it make if somebody is thirsty or not thirsty? So the answer is like this. The reason that we make the bracha is not so much because of the health benefits. The reason that we make the bracha is to thank Hashem for the pleasure that one derives, because these brachas are called birchas hanenin. Anything that somebody derives pleasure from, this they make a bracha. If they smell the herbs which have a good smell that a person likes, they enjoy the smell, you make a bracha, you thank Hashem for the good smell. If somebody hears good news, they make a bracha shechianu because they derived benefit from it. Not benefit, enjoyment, pleasure. So the exact same thing, even though a pill is there to help the person to make sure to heal their body or to take away pain, and this helps the person, but the actual eating and swallowing of the pill, there's no benefit, there's no pleasure in that, or water when one is not thirsty, there's no pleasure in that, so then a bracha is not recited. Now, if somebody Chas v'shalom needs to eat something which is not kosher because of health reasons, the only way for them to get better is to take a medicine or to eat a food which is not kosher, but there's no choice. They have to live, and this is what's going to save them. So the halacha is one does make a bracha, and the reason for that is because right now the Torah said you have to eat this because it's a mitzvah of a chai b'hem to live, and since the Torah permitted eating this, and it's food that a person derives benefit, whether it's kosher or not, then a bracha is actually recited. What happens if somebody drinks an egg for their voice? They make a bracha. So even though it may not be the most tasty thing, but it satiates a person. You feel full. You feel it's not like taking a little tablet or something, but you actually feel you're satiated. And the last halacha that we learned, it's actually 10 o'clock now. The last halacha that we learned is something got into their throat, and they're eating or drinking to clear their throat, but they're actually eating or drinking food that they enjoy. So even though the purpose is to clear their throat, then you do actually make a bracha. And in the same halacha, as we mentioned earlier, water, being that there's no pleasure in drinking water when one is not thirsty, you don't make a bracha. You only make a bracha on water when you are thirsty and you're enjoying it. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable drinking without a bracha, so they should make a bracha on something else and have the water in mind. Okay, see you next week.